Hey, we're back in the garage. I have now broken down the sections into their individual, or a couple here, and those are that's the top half. So you can see that it was round, and I've broken it down into different sections. I'll be doing some pretty cool stuff with that, and this is of course the top piece, or I should say, excuse me, the lower root. It was in the ground, as you could see. It was a little bit thicker than I could get through with the old saw, the jigsaw, so I had a little sawzall to it. So there was that one. Then of course with these bad boys, as you could see, some of them are quite thick, and where other ones are just individual. So I got a couple different styles of, I've cut in 2 and 3 together, so we're going to come back. There is another prepping stage we have to do. We haven't quite gotten ready to start throwing on the linseed oil, but we'll go ahead and I'll show what the cleanup practices. Alright, so for this stage, I'm going to be, we'll give you this idea. So one side is definitely nice and smooth, and this is how you're going to be seen, but on the back side, it almost has like this ciliate hair, and it's the stuff that obviously it's taking a little while. So what I do to basically you're not going to be able to get all of it off, and next see if I can get a little bit closer so you can see here. You can just see those hairs on there, like almost like layers, if you will. And a lot of that little extra hangy stuff has got to be, really got to be just taken out of there so that I get good product coverage when I put it on this side. So I basically have a toothbrush, and I got a little wire brush. Nothing really fancy. Toothbrush will really work. All we're going to be doing here is basically just taking the toothbrush, getting the groove, just like brushing your teeth, and step up to the wire one. Just trying to knock off almost like all the burrs, if you will. You really want the product to stick in here when we go ahead and polyurethane these bad boys. And we'll be doing boiled linseed oil as the, I won't be using a stain. I really enjoy the boiled linseed oil look. It's a natural look, it also conditions, and honestly I've never tried boiled linseed on Saguaro Cactus Ribs, so one more over here. Just a quick little wipe off. Doesn't got to be perfect, but long run you'll see. See if I can get, there you go. It's a little bit better, not by much, but all the other stuff you see hanging on there, let me see if I can get it focused. So we're going to do that to, sorry for the jittering. So we've cleaned up that one piece, that's ready to go, both sides. I got to do the rest of those and our top pieces. So we'll come back after I've cleaned everything, and then we'll start doing the boiled linseed. And again, some of this stuff I'm going to be using a testing piece, and so my testing piece is going to be right here. We're going to go ahead and test to see how the boiled linseed oil penetrates the ribs here, and then of course we'll do a couple layers of polyurethane to see if it's the desired result that we're looking for in this project here. So I'm going to click back with here. Okay, got this prepped. I'm going to be doing our first coat of boiled linseed. Surgical gloves on here. So we definitely got this. Now, I like to use boiled linseed oil. Let me get this cap off here. Time for a little bit of needs a helper. Been a little while. Okay. You want to get your rag pretty liberal with this stuff. We're just going to basically be almost just like a really good stain. Oh, and this stuff smells so good. All this is going to do is once this sets in, it's going to give it a good golden blonde look, or at least that's the hue from the linseed. And again, I'm only really doing one side, the linseed penetration. I'm giving it pretty liberal. I may change to a sponge brush versus a rag here for a better application. These Saguaro Cactus Ribs are extremely dry. That's almost like a hard sponge, if you will. And so these things soak up an incredible amount of product. And you're trying, when you're getting this stuff on, trying to go with the grain so you're not working against it and hitting it. But as you can see, I'm probably going to be going to a sponge brush for sure. Because I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm still putting stuff on. This just basically just sucking it in. So yep, I can definitely see a sponge brush being the key. The sponge brush should be able to get in these nice little cracks and crevices. So we're going to see how that boy does. And again, I'm just getting it real liberal. Get my hands on a sponge brush and we'll do this one. So all right. So as you can see, it's a little bit wet, but it'll take no time to dry on out and give a good color. And of course, each individual cactus rib, depending on what side of the sun it was, the ribs were curing on once all the flesh had peeled apart from the ribs. And you've got darker pieces, you've got significantly lighter pieces that are going to come out. So in the project, we're going to have to basically part and piece color. We've got to be very aware of the darker ones versus lighter ones. And you can see as well that some of these, are just they're so huge at the base that we're going to have to be doing some really cool stuff with them. So I'm going to go ahead and put a coat and do some more experimenting on these right here. And we're going to come back when we're all said and done and see about this test piece, doing a little polyurethane. And if we can get this piece, which is a good piece that have, it's not too dark, it's not too light, it's kind of what the Goldilocks, you know, pours just right. So if I can get a good hue matching on this and a good product penetration on this one, then I know that it's going to do well on not only the darker ribs, but on the lighter ribs as well. And then from there, we can always go from how we can part and piece and stack them up. So, all right, we can get back into it. Okay, so we have our test piece, which is the dark one here, and then I also grabbed a little bit lighter one to do a test piece also. I put 1 coat of boiled linseed, actually a couple, 2 or 3 coats as it soaked in. Right there, a little boiled linseed. And then of course I put a couple of coats of polyurethane, a little spray paint, not spray paint, so, and you could see that it's actually turned out quite well versus what it was on the dark side. And then this little bit lighter one, you can just see it just brought out just a really good color, and it's really just sealing the stuff up. So when I hang it up and when it goes up on the wall, it just could be last for a long time. So no more moisture or anything else. It has a nice little block to it. So I've got some other pieces here that I've, you can see that still these are the raw pieces. You can see the kind of the difference in the freshly cut one. I'll get a little close up here. And again, some of them they're gonna have a little darker streaks, some are gonna have lighter. I also went ahead and got a lot of these all broken down into where they need to be at and cleaned up, like we've talked about. So we're going to work on these spindle looking ribs, if you will. And yeah, we're going to go from there. So we're going to get things all set up and start going.